Hey guys, how's it going today? It's me, Captain Energy. Today we're going to take a look at the RD-6 from Behringer. This is a remake of the classic Roland 606 drum kit from the 80s. Always wanted one back in the 80s when they were out. Unfortunately, you can't get them for a decent price anymore, and the ones you can get are, 30 years old now, or 40 years old, I guess. So that being the case, I figured this seemed like a good opportunity to get one in brand new condition. So I pre-ordered mine back in June or whenever they were announced last year, and just finally got it the other day. They have not been really around, it seems like, especially since there was that fire that destroyed a lot of the chips that they use for audio circuits, and now basically that seems like it's back on the upswing. Everything looks like it's moving along. But in the meantime, I've got this drum kit here, and really digging it. So I thought I'd show you guys around it a little bit. And in the end, I created 8 patterns to do house music type production with it. And when we're all done here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a link in the video to download my patterns from the web. You can download the patterns if you've got an RD-6. And if you don't have an RD-6, there's no reason you can't get in on the fun too, because I'm going to give you a link that will allow you to download sampled versions of the patterns that I'm giving away in this video. So either way, you get to mess around with some RD-6 stuff. The cool part about the synth, aside from being a pretty awesome drum kit, is that it also works with the TD3. Now, we're not going to do that in this video, but in my next video, I'm going to hook up a TD3 to it, and we're going to show you how to sync the two up together so that you can create patterns on your TD3 that play along, and you can kind of jam out with the RD-6. And I'll even show you how to hook up and sync a second TD3, because I have 2 of them, essentially giving you the capabilities of, if you remember Rebirth, you'll essentially have Rebirth right there, because you'll have, except with the 707 instead of a 909. But this also works with the RD-8, so you could use the RD-8 808 type drum kit with this setup with the 2 TD3s. But yeah, so when we're done, we would do some of that. Okay, so that's it. Let's take a look at the RD-6, get into it, and see what this thing can do. I'm going to show you how to create patterns on the RD-6 itself, and I'm also going to show you how to use the software that comes with it to create patterns and back them up, as well as restore them to the RD-6, so that when you download my patches, you'll be able to pop them right in and go from there. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so here we are at the RD-6. In the top left corner, right up top, we'll start from right over here. You've got these 6 knobs. This knob is your accent. So if you've used a drum machine before, you know that there's usually an accent knob or an accent to your drums, and you can trigger an accent on any of these steps in the 16 steps in the pattern down below here, which will cause your drum to hit a little harder. It is global, so it does affect any sound within that on that step in your sequence, but it's pretty cool. It does add some a little extra flair. You got your bass drum. These are all level knobs, by the way. Your snare drum, your low and high tom, cymbals and claps, and then we have open hat and closed hat right there. Next down here we have the tempo knob. This is where you set your tempo. Faster is higher, slower is lower. If you want to change between clap and cymbal, you can see there's this knob here. This is how you select what drum you're working with. But on 6, you'll notice that there's a CYCP right here. That lets you determine whether you're going to be programming the clap or the cymbal down in the buttons below. Now, you can use both. It's not one or the other. You can use both. My thought is that on the original there was this is probably how they did it on the original. They probably had 8 steps on the knob. There's not a 9-step knob, so they decided to double purpose one of the steps. All right, so here we go to mode. now we have track, write, and play. And we also have pattern, play, and write right here, all controlled by this 4-position toggle. All right, got the Behringer logo, of course. All right, so now on the top right over here, we have your sync in and out. Now, if you had something else controlling your sync, you could run it into the drum kit so it would catch its clock from there. Or you can use the drum kit as your clock and spit its clock out to another device, which is what you would do if you were hooking it up to the TR3s. You've got a trigger out right here, and low tom, high tom. These are low tom, high tom trigger outs. Okay, if you want to hook that to something else to trigger based on your toms, you could use that. Right here we have headphones, which is kind of unconventional, I thought. It's interesting that they use the 1/8" jack instead of the 1/4" jack for the headphones. It just seemed a little strange to me, but nevertheless, that's how it is here on this particular synth. We've got your distortion unit right here. So you turn your distortion on here or off there. Once you do that, distortion right here, tone, and level are what affect your distortion. This is your regular volume right here. So all your typical volume goes through there. Next, we go down to the next row here. We have the bar reset clear, and this is how you choose what type of pattern you're going to be working in. If you were doing like a 4 on the floor type pattern, you'd go with number 1 here, right down the bottom. So if you're going to do, 2/4, then you'd go right up here. There are different timings right here. You'd have to read through the manual, but typically in dance, I think the number 1 is the one I generally use. Pattern 1 and 2 right here are where you choose which pattern group you're writing your patterns to, because you can have up to 32 patterns on this drum kit, 1 through 16, and then 1 through 16 again in pattern group 1 and 2. Okay, if you want to change the sync on this drum kit, you can press both buttons right here, and you'll see right here that your sync changes. I'm going to press it again so you see. These are your sync options. You have internal, Midi, USB, or trigger. And then you also have your points per step or points per quarter note to determine the resolution of your recording, or resolution of your pattern. If you were recording in real time, you would use this button here to tap your pattern in. Your start and stop right over here. Or you can manually enter your patterns by just go to pattern right, pick the instrument you want to work with. Actually, well, first we'll pick the pattern. There we go. And then we'll go down here and pick the instrument we want to work with. Sorry, gotta press play. Once you press play, as you change this knob, press down just a little bit. As you change this knob, you'll see that the lights change to tell you what instrument you're on and how it's playing. So right now you see my drum, so I'm going all the way down. This is my kick drum. Let's turn this off. No kick drum. So it's accent, sorry. This is kick drum. There goes my kick drum. Get rid of the snare. Get rid of the low tom. Get rid of the high tom. That's my clap. Open hi-hat. Closed hi-hat. Now my pattern's completely clear. Now, I could choose to create a new pattern. Let's go back. We'll start with kick. So we're on bass drum number 2. So go. All right. I'll throw some open hi-hats in there. Let's go. Now the closed hi-hat helps control the open hi-hat. So all right, now we'll go over and put the claps in. And to give you an idea here of how this distortion works, turn this on. It's a little high right now. Let's turn it down a little. There we go. Tempo, like I said, controlled by this knob. All right. And that's basically it. So now we've created our first pattern. That pattern is saved right here. Now, if I wanted to, let me go here. Grab something I didn't have anything of yet. Okay, so we have my low tom. If I want to, I can play the low tom in with this button. So just go. There we go. This lets you kind of sync it up. So if you were playing it with a record, you can kind of use this to trigger it so it started right at the point of the beginning of the record. Anyway, it starts and stops right there. Basically, that's the majority of what you need to know to use this drum kit. But let's look at the back here for a second. The other thing that's kind of cool, I want to be sure I mention, is that it's mono. Now, a mono drum kit may not be the best thing in the world from the perspective of general production type environments, but on the back you'll see also that we have an out for all the different drums. So there's an audio out. They're all 1/8 inch jack wires, depending on what kind of mixer you have, probably 1/4 inch. It's generally the way. So you'll need 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch jacks or wires to convert 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch jacks. You can actually then run these all into your mixer or into a sound card or something else and pan them around any way you want at that point, just to give you an idea. Right now I'm just using it as mono, just for the sample, just for simplicity. I'm using this in mono to make it so that I can show you how this works. Now, you also have two Midi, one in, one out / through, same deal. There's a start and a stop jack where you can hook up a foot switch, so you can control this from a foot switch if you'd like. I personally would rather have seen the foot switch, either moved over here or somewhere else, and I would really have liked to have had a headphone jack back there instead of this little one in the front, but oh well, whatever. Anyway, and here's the USB port. Now the USB port's pretty cool. So all you've got to do to use the drum kit with a USB cable is plug in a USB cable into the USB port and run it to your computer. Let's take a look at the software that makes this whole thing tick. So the software you're going to want to download is listed on the Behringer website. It's this Synth Tribe software right here. Okay. And this is available for basically all of their instruments. Pretty much everything they've got hooks in through this, and whatever one you plug into, those are the ones that show up here. So whatever's plugged in by USB usually shows up here, and you can jump from, if there's more than one instrument, you can rotate through them. But right now, I've only got the RD-6 hooked up. Okay, so I'm going to click Get Started. And the first thing you'll see in here is we've got the general right up here. We've got MIDI in channel is 1, MIDI out channel is 1. Clock is internal. I've got 24 points per quarter note for my syncing it out setting. Okay. And over here we have my polarities, either rise or fall. I'm going to leave it on rise. Okay. And here's your accent velocity. Accent velocity tells you the velocity that when you turn the accent on, it's going to hit the sound with. So I can, if I do 127, it's going to be a much harder, louder sound. 97 is a pretty good number. Pretty usually discernible. 100 is good. Whatever sounds good to you. Pretty much figure out what you like. If you get lost in this, just hit restore factory settings right here, and it will bring you back to what the synth came with, or what the drum kit came with, and you'll be good to go. If there's an update to the firmware, you can just click this update button right here. Right now, the current version is 1.04, and I am up to date. I just updated it this morning. I probably should have recorded that so you could have seen it, but just so you know, that's basically where we're at. If you want to see what happened during that update, hit release notes, and here we go. Fix the no clap MIDI note output bug. Responds to MIDI notes when sequencer is played. Record MIDI in notes when playing a pattern right mode. Well, that's cool. So now we know what actually happened in there, what they added. But let's get rid of this, and we can go back to the software. Now here's where it gets kind of awesome. If I hit this sequencer, okay, I love this on the RD-8, and also it's available on the TR3s, where you can create your patterns right here. Just draw them in. It's pretty excellent. If I go over here though, and I go, we're on pattern 1-1 and pattern group 1, pattern 1, this is one of the ones that I created here. So we're going to load the current device pattern into the sequencer. No, recall, we'll pull the patterns. So if I go here, you can see these are the patterns that I told you I created some patterns for house music. These are them. If I want to hear them, I can just go to the drum kit and press play, and then select the pattern number that we're on right now. This is 1, which is this guy right here. Just kick. Now I'm going to play 2. There you go. See what's happening here? Here's 3. Let's hear 4. Let's go to 5. Here's 6. Here comes 7. See what's happening there. And here's 8. Those are the patterns I made. And now I've recalled them all by hitting recall. If I make a change to one of the patterns, I can just hit store, and it will write it back out to the drum kit. If I want to import one pattern, okay, for example, if I export this, I can export one single pattern, this one I'm on right now, out to my computer to save each one individually if I like. That way I can build a compilation of them later on, or I can export them all. If I hit dump, this will export all the drum patterns that I created in one file, and they can all be brought in as one file. That's what I'm going to give you guys, is a dump of all the sounds, basically, so you can have them all. And then you just bring them in, and all you've got to do to bring them in is hit merge. And it says all sequences will be overwritten. Are you sure you want to merge? I'm going to say yes. And I tell it which one I want to load in. And that's this right here, house beats. Okay. Click OK. Merge OK. It's done. Now my sounds have been loaded. So anything that I didn't have, or anything that I didn't save, basically is gone. But you might want to back up whatever you've done first with dump, just to be sure you don't lose anything if you've created patterns on this drum kit. But that's it. That's this drum kit. It's pretty awesome. I love it. I like the sound. I like the whole style of it. And I think you will like one too. So, I mean, at the price, I think they're about $129, $129 rather. Not $129, but you know, $129. That's pretty great for a brand new drum kit or a brand new drum machine that you can use for just about anything. I haven't even tried it hooked up to a synth to a DAW yet. And that's going to be next for me. But I mean, I'm also going to be showing you guys how to hook it up to my TR3. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to show you guys this this setup. I think it's really awesome. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy playing with it if you go ahead and get one. If you don't go ahead and get one, don't forget to download the samples at least. That way you can mess with it and you know, come up with your own things from there. And also, I mean, you know, slice them up, do what you want with them. I'm just trying to, you know, help people make music. And that's all I got for you today. So I hope that was helpful to somebody. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the videos that I do and you want to keep in touch with me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please leave me a comment in the comments below so I know what you thought of the video, the things you liked, the things you didn't like, and what I can do better to make these videos more useful to you in the future. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have an awesome day. Go ahead and make some music. Don't forget to use these drum samples, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do with them. Let me know if you make something cool. All right, take care, guys. Bye.